Okay, so while I was scrolling my favorite website called Reddit, and I was on the Danganronpa subreddit, I was not actually, I'm just subscribed to it, and a post showed up. It was a screen cap of an entry on Archive of Our Own, famous fanfiction website, and it's called Why It's Misogynistic to Ship Protag X Rival and Not Protag X Support, a short essay by Anonymous. Now, when I saw this, immediately I went over to Archive of Our Own, and I looked it up, and lo and behold, it's actually a thing. So, me being the intellect that I am going to narrate this fanfiction, and I hope everyone enjoys what I'm reading and some of the few things that I have to say about it. Have fun! Hello everyone, I am an anonymous Archive of Our Own user who just wants to be heard out on this topic. I have tried to before in the past on Danganronpa Discord servers and Reddit, but my posts were taken down, presumably by misogynistic moderators. Archive of Our Own was never a place I expected to be writing an essay, but I need to get my very important message across without the risk of it being taken down. All of that out of the way, I'm here to explain why opting to ship the protagonists with their rivals rather than their love interests is a form of harmful misogyny that hurts female Danganronpa fans and makes us feel targeted and shunned for not indulging in the fetishistic male-male segments of the community and instead choosing to embrace our canon male-female representations. This essay will be composed of 3 chapters explaining in order of game why the more popular male-male ship is unethical and the canon female-male ship should always be the one rooted for, if you wish to help feminism progress inside of the Danganronpa community and spread feminist ideals, along with a bonus chapter at the end calling out female characters with misogynistic writing. I hope some people will read this and agree with my statements if you really care about women's rights. Now, I definitely agree that Danganronpa ships are a very huge part as to why feminism is, like, feminism and feminist rights and women's rights is, like, a very controversial topic. The reason that women don't have a lot of rights in the Middle East, for example, is because of Danganronpa ships. Honestly, I feel like if Makoto x Byakuya never existed, then women would probably have equal rights with men. That is my input personally. Now they list the definition of misogyny, which most of us probably know, and frequently asked questions, which I am not going to read. But at some point they say that Kokichi has a canonical attraction to Miu, which is interesting, I suppose. I don't recall that ever happening, but maybe they played, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, and maybe they played a different version of V3, which is fair enough, because, some people just play different version of games. Maybe every V3 copy is personalized, who knows. Chapter 2, or Chapter 1, Negami. Let's start with Negami, the first protagonist X's rivalship in the entire franchise. Wow, they should really get an award for that. This chapter will be going over Makoto and Byakuya's dynamic versus Makoto and Koyoko's dynamic. Okay, well, they didn't have spell check on, I suppose. And the romantic and sexual tension between the two, what differs from romantic and sexual tension in the first place, and the flaws with Negami as a ship and Celeste Giri as a ship in general. Now, I'm not sure why Celeste Giri is here, because I thought this was a dung on male-male ships, not female-female ships, but, let's keep going, I suppose. Starting with Byakuya Togami, the ultimate affluent prodigy. I don't think, wait, hold on, give me a second. So they actually got his talent incorrect. He's not the ultimate affluent prodigy, he's the ultimate affluent progeny. So, besides, not having spell check on, they also didn't really check the character's talents. So, oh well. Or better yet known as the ultimate smug asshole. Ooh. He's not gonna recover from that burn, is the first rival-like character of the Danganronpa franchise. He doesn't take initiative into his role. They're just literally just describing the characters. I'm pretty sure we all know who these characters are. Byakuya is a dickhead, Kyoko Kirigiri is stoic and intelligent and mysterious, but she eventually warms up to one person in particular, Makoto Naegi. Who out of these two seems like a better fit for Makoto? If you said the objectively correct female character, you'd be wrong. What? Neigi Makoto x Togami Byakuya is more popular on AO3 than Kirigiri Kyoko and Neigi Makoto. I wonder why that is. Despite having a perfectly good and healthy female character there for the protagonist, the fanbase chooses the smug, rich asshole to be with him instead, leaving the innocent Kyoko in the dirt, huh? Misogyny is clearly at play here. I'm gonna stop for a second and just say that I don't think that's really true in general. I mean, sure, it may be more popular on AO3, but, like, if you go outside AO3, I've seen more fan art for Negiri on, like, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Reddit than I have for, Negami, so I feel like this person should try to, expand their, social media use. Well, I mean, AO3 is not a social media, but you get what I mean. They should probably branch out to different websites if they want to see fan art for, Negiri, but I digress. Kyoko was almost exactly like Byakuya in the way that she was avoidant and standoffish towards him. I just want to say that Kyoko is nothing like Byakuya, but moving on. Except for the fact that she actually warmed up to him and opened up to him in the canon story. No, not just the free time events, the canon story. And yet even with that same dynamic, everyone still opts for Negami. Again, not true, but whatever. Tell me this, and to think long and hard about it. Long and hard, like use your brain. If Kyoko was a boy, do you think Negiri would be more popular than Negami if Byakuya were a female? I can already predict your answer. The Danganronpa community simply hates women. So I'm gonna stop again. Sorry, I want to insert my opinions personally. I don't fully disagree with that because, like, one of my favorite examples to use is how much the fandom hates Hiyoko, who is one of my favorite characters in case you weren't aware. How much they hate Hiyoko for being, like, a bitch, but then they give a pass to, like, Kokichi, who is objectively worse in the things that he does, which I find very strange, and it's probably because she's a female character, but I feel like there is something to be said that female characters tend to be hated more than male characters, even if they do very similar things, but, like, that's not exclusive to Danganronpa. That's like every single fandom ever. Who cares? Let's not focus on that. Let's talk about ships, I suppose. Let's take a look at Negami as a whole for a second, and then compare it to Negiri. Every time they say Negiri, I just think of nigiri. So, like, when I hear the ship, I just think of the sushi. I'm sure that joke has been made before. I've only been in the Danganronpa fandom for like 2 hours, so, you know. Negami is honestly a very toxic ship. Byakuya is demanding and he's possessive, and he would not be a good influence on Makoto like Kyoko. The only thing between the two is sexual tension, made apparent by their slightly suggestive free time events and school mode dialogue. I've not watched any of these, so I mean, I'm just gonna take their word for it. Both of these, however, are not canon parts of the game. And now let's compare it to Negiri. It's full of trust and loyalty, and it goes both ways. Kyoko was willing to throw herself down a trash chute just to see if Makoto could possibly still be alive, goddammit. Did you ever see Byakuya do something like this? I don't think so. Instead of perverse sexual tension, their ship is replaced by a more faithful romantic tension that is pure in its own ways. In summary, there is literally no reason to prefer Makoto with Byakuya over Kyoko unless you're a horribly sick in the head fujoshi, or as most fujoshis tend to be, a misogynist. And then they just list off some fanfictions that they like, okay, I'm not gonna read that, but there's a lot to be said here. In my personal opinion, some people just like gay ships better. I know, especially on AO3, gay ships tend to be more popular than, like, straight ships and lesbian ships. That's just how it is, you know? Some people just prefer that gay shit, you know? And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't ship Negami, but Negiri, it's kind of bland, I'm not gonna lie. There's not much flavor to it. But that's my opinion. If you ship that, then good on you. But, this person is not in good faith, I'll tell you that much. Chapter 3, or Chapter 2, Komahina. Komahina, the second worst of these three in my opinion. This chapter will cover basically everything Negami covers, and maybe some more. Let's start, shall we? And they describe Nagito and Chiaki. We both know what they're like. We both know. Well, yeah, it's just me and you in this room together. I'm sure you can guess which of the two is more commonly paired with Hajime. That's right, it's Nagito. Words cannot describe how disappointed I am. Starting with Komahina, literally what is there to love? I cannot find a single good thing about the ship other than the fact that both the male characters within it are considered attractive by weeaboo preteen girl standards. We all know how influential preteen weeaboo girls are, and how much their opinion matters. I'm very disappointed, guys, especially in the weeaboo preteen girls. It's toxic as hell and no communication would ever be involved. It's very clear Hajime doesn't care about Nagito in the slightest, and the same goes for Nagito not caring about Hajime in the slightest. Nagito lied to him about having cancer for sympathy. Who does that? Seriously, disgusting how people ship this. And now comparing that to Hidanami. Yeah, I bet you can see where I'm coming from now. Hidanami is cute and traditional. Traditional, okay. Both sides have crushes on one another, and it's basically canon anyways. She basically died for him and her whole class as a whole. And yet, Komihina is still the most popular. Misogyny again! I'd like to yet again end this chapter with my favorite Hidenami ships. Not reading those. I like how they just lie about... First of all, to say that Komaeda doesn't care about Hajime is just wrong. Like, that is just wrong. I feel like you just haven't played the game at that point. He obviously does care for him, just in a very unusual way. And also, Komaeda does have cancer. He never lied about that. He literally, one of the reasons he's insane is because he has, like, cancer in his brain or something like that. Like, how, did you just not play the game? Did you, like, watch, like, a Let's Play? And not even, okay. Listen, I don't ship the two. I don't care for Hajime or Komaeda, but I feel like this chapter is just them blatantly lying for some reason. And also, calling Hidenami traditional is very strange because there is nothing traditional about a gamer girl. The only traditional thing about this is the fact that it's a man and a woman, so, you know. Chapter 3, Sayoma. The worst of the worst. It is beyond me how the ship even came into existence in the first place. Not only did Team Danganronpa kill off a perfectly sweet female protagonist, but they killed off a female love interest that could have been for the unfortunate new male protagonist. V3's first trial twist will never cease to offend me to my core. I cannot believe they had the audacity to place the game under female protagonist on Steam after all of this. Have you heard of red herrings and, story twists? Anyways, petty ranting aside, let me digress. This chapter will okay, yeah, whatever. They describe the characters. Shuichi is a very anxious boy. After Kaede's unfortunate death, he took off his baseball cap permanently. Kokichi calls it his emo cap. Can you guess? Well, that's right. There are, as of writing, 50,121 works across all Danganronpa games, and, again, currently, 6,307 of them contain Oma Kokichi Saihara Shuichi as a pairing, which is 12.58. What the fuck is that ringing? I think there's like an alien outside my house. I keep hearing like beeping or some shit. I think 12.583% on the which is apparently how much of the fanfictions contain Omako Kishi and Saihara Shuichi as a pairing. On the contrary, Akamatsu Kaede Saihara Shuichi is represented in only 1,482 of that 50,121, which is 2.956%. These stats are interesting, so I've decided to put them in the next chapter if anyone's interested. Back on the topic, this is clearly just plain misogyny. Sorry. Okay, sorry. I got possessed for a moment. Back on topic, this is clearly just plain misogyny. There's absolutely no excuse to ship Sayoma, other than the fact that neither of them is a girl. It would make much more sense if you paired the soft, sweet, and kind girl with that anxious boy so she can help him become better, not the mischievous little shit rat gremlin. What good would he even do? Kokichi makes fun of him all the time. Also, why did they say this, but then they're like, oh yeah, Kokichi is canonically attracted to Miu, which, I mean, he always, like, slut-shames her, so, I mean, okay, alright. I don't really have much to say here, because they don't really go, like, they're just, like, this is literally just their personal opinion. Again, I don't ship Sayoma, I don't care for it. I don't care for most Danganronpa ships, honestly, but, like, who cares? Obviously, it's gonna be popular because Kaede fucking dies in the first chapter, and Kokichi's alive until chapter 5. So, of course, more people are gonna ship Shuichi and Kokichi, because, you know, he's alive for longer. If Kokichi died in the first chapter, then there would probably be less shipping of those two. So, I mean, skill issue, I guess. Okay, we're on the final chapter. First of all, I'd like to humbly thank you for reading till the end. It warms my heart, truly, it does. And I hope it has changed your perspective on some things. Now, I'd like to call out a few characters for misogynistic writing here. The aforementioned statistic in Sayoma will be at the end of the author's note. Chihiro Fujisaki. Oh boy, okay. I've always had gripes with Chihiro's character, and especially with those who claim he is a transgender female purely because he wore dresses. It's horribly insensitive and misogynistic to imply that merely putting on a skirt makes you a woman. It sets the notion that all women must be feminine to be considered real women, which is unapologetically untrue. No boy can ever become a girl just because he wears a dress. Chihiro was always just a boy in makeup to me. I don't care if he's trans. He's not and no one is. So, okay. So just like casual transphobia. Okay, alright. I'm not gonna really specify my thoughts on the Chihiro trans thing because it's really not that important. But I feel like it's just weird to suddenly insert, like, transphobic rhetoric. Like, okay, Sonia, never mind. Sonia was a beautifully written character in my eyes.
Stop the cap! Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap!
Unapologetically feminine, polite, and well-mannered, she had a whimsical curiosity in her eye at the mention of anything remotely boyish. She was my favorite character until Chapter 4 came along, and the writers decided to canonize her lack of virginity. A true woman's virtue is that she saves her flower for a man, and gives it to a man after marriage. But Sonia is too young to be married, and thus committed premarital sex. Disgusting. Okay. Miui Ruma. I could go on for years about this slut. She doesn't even deserve to be called a woman with how perverted she acts. A real woman would never genuinely act like this if she wanted a nice, respectable husband. Miu's whole character is an entire waste, and she is easily one of the worst written characters in the entire game. So, what did I think of this fanfiction? Incredible, amazing, fantastic. I agree with every single thing they said. Matter of fact, I'm actually gonna kill myself right now because, like, I don't think I'll ever read anything more truthful than this.